The stars had always been quiet in this part of the galaxy. Systems blinked in silence and trade ships followed routes that had been used for centuries. The Galactic Alliance prided itself on order. Every planet, every fleet, every species had rules. Rules were written in treaties, enforced by fleets, and watched over by monitors that could detect the smallest deviation. And in this galaxy of perfection, no one expected humans to arrive. The first human ship to cross the Alliance's outer borders was the Dauntless. It was not large, not especially armed, and certainly not the kind of vessel that the Alliance would have feared. But there was something about it that made commanders uneasy. The ship moved like it belonged to no map, no fleet, no schedule. It did not follow the prescribed lanes or report to the monitors. It simply appeared seemingly out of nowhere, in the heart of Alliance space. Captain Sarah Drake sat in the cockpit, her brown hair tied back, her eyes scanning the holographic displays. She was calm, confident, and entirely human. Around her, the small crew moved with efficiency, but they were relaxed. There was a sense of quiet strength about them, a way of moving, a way of thinking that said they belonged wherever they went. "Status?" Sarah asked. "Alliance scanners are active," said Lieutenant Rami, the young navigator. "They've noticed us. And they're confused. Apparently no ship should appear here without permission." Sarah smiled. "Good. Confusion is always our advantage." The ship's communication system blinked and a voice filled the cockpit. It was formal, cold, and precise. "Human vessel, you are in restricted space. You must submit to Alliance protocols immediately. Identification, registration, and compliance are required." Sarah leaned back, her fingers drumming lightly on the control panel. "Tell them we're exploring. But we're not going to follow rules just because someone tells us to." Rami frowned. Do you want me to send that?" "I want them to think twice before trying to scare us," Sarah replied. "Send it." Across the galaxy, the Alliance fleet gathered. Hundreds of ships moved with perfect precision, surrounding the Dauntless. Their weapons glinted in space and their monitors tracked the human ship's every movement. Commanders in the central hub of the fleet shook their heads in disbelief. "Why are they not responding like the others?" one alien officer said. He had 4 arms, each ending in delicate claws. "They do not comply. They do not fear us. What species is this?" "They call themselves humans," the commander said, his voice low. "I have never encountered such audacity. They must be contained." Back on the Dauntless, Sarah watched the approaching fleet with mild interest. "Contain us? That's cute." Her first officer, a tall man named Jin, looked uneasy. "Captain, they outnumber us by hundreds. Their weapons don't scare people who think differently," Sarah said. She tapped her fingers on the console. "We'll show them, but not by fighting. Not yet." The first sign that humans were unlike any other species in the galaxy came when the Dauntless moved. They did not flee. They did not hide. They did not obey the fleet's attempt to force them into a formation. Instead, they maneuvered with unexpected precision, weaving through space like dancers. Alien sensors struggled to predict their path. "This is impossible," said one alien admiral. "Our calculations show collision course, but they are avoiding us." On the human ship, Sarah laughed softly. "They're trying to intimidate us with their numbers." "Classic mistake. Show them we're not afraid." Lieutenant Rami's fingers flew over the controls. "I'm rerouting the engines through the gravity well. It should—" "Oh wow, it's working." The humans had hacked the local space environment itself, not with brute force, not with weapons, but by understanding physics in a way the aliens had never expected. One moment, the fleet thought the humans would crash. The next, they floated past unharmed, perfectly in control. "Impressive," Sarah said. "And they'll learn something today. Humans don't just follow rules. We make them." The fleet tried again. A squadron of warships moved to block the humans. They opened communications once more, this time with a tone sharper, almost threatening. "Human vessel, you will comply. Resistance is not tolerated. Submit now or face destruction." Sarah leaned forward, resting her elbows on the console. "Tell them we're not interested in their threats. If they want to fight, we can arrange something more interesting." Back at the Alliance command, panic rippled through the officers. They had never faced beings who acted without fear, who refused to obey. Every other species in the galaxy had followed the rules. Every other species had obeyed the fleet. Humans were not obeying, and worse, they seemed to enjoy it. In the following hours, humans demonstrated more than courage. They demonstrated creativity. Where the Alliance expected conflict, humans found solutions. They redirected asteroids to shield themselves. They sent decoys that confused sensors. They even negotiated with smaller alien factions caught in the fleet, forming alliances in hours that the Alliance had taken decades to build. "You don't understand," the alien admiral muttered to his council. "They are not like anyone else. Their minds. They are unpredictable. They do not obey logic. They do not fear power. They invent new rules as they go." Meanwhile, on the Dauntless, Captain Sarah held a small meeting with her crew. "We're not here to fight," she said. "We're here to explore. But the galaxy will learn a lesson. Humans cannot be forced into boxes. We create our own path. That's our strength," the crew nodded. They were humans and they were proud. They were audacious, brave, and clever in ways the galaxy had not seen. And they knew this first contact would not be peaceful, but it could be controlled. In the middle of the night cycle aboard the ship, the young engineer, Tara, approached Sarah. "Captain, I've been working on a little surprise. It's a device that can temporarily disrupt their communication and sensors. It's non-lethal, but it will make them think twice." Sarah grinned. "Perfect. That's exactly what we need. Non-lethal, creative, very human. Do it." As the humans activated their device, the Alliance fleet erupted in confusion. Ships collided, sensors scrambled, and commands failed to reach their targets. No one knew what was happening, and for the first time in centuries, the Alliance commanders felt fear. Not the fear of dying, they had shields, weapons, and fleets, but the fear of losing control. The Dauntless moved calmly through the chaos, unharmed, unafraid, and completely in charge of its destiny. Hours later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Leaders from dozens of civilizations argued, shouted, and blamed each other. But one thing was clear. The humans had broken the rules of the galaxy and nothing could undo it. "They must be stopped," one counselor hissed. "They are a threat to order. If we allow them to roam free, others will follow." Another shook her head. "Stopping them will require force. And even then, I am not certain they can be contained. They do not play by our rules. They think differently." Back on the human ship, Sarah watched the stars with quiet satisfaction. "Let them try," she said. "The galaxy will learn the hard way. Humans don't follow rules. We make them." And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy realized that the humans arriving in their midst were not just explorers. They were a force of nature, unpredictable and unstoppable, a species that would change the rules forever. The Dauntless disappeared into the darkness of space, leaving confusion, fear, and a galaxy-wide debate in its wake. Alien fleets scrambled. Communication networks were overwhelmed. No one had expected humans to act like this, and no one could predict what they would do next. But one thing was certain. When humans decided to make their own rules, no force in the galaxy could stop them. The Galactic Alliance had learned one undeniable truth. Humans could not be controlled. In the council chambers, voices rose in panic. Accusations flew and leaders demanded action. Hundreds of fleets had failed to intimidate a single human ship. The Dauntless had not attacked, not yet, but it had made the galaxy tremble. Across the stars, Captain Sarah Drake watched the chaos from her bridge. The humans aboard the Dauntless were calm, efficient, and ready. They had no intention of fleeing or hiding. The galaxy could send fleets, set traps, and issue ultimatums. But the humans were one step ahead, always thinking, always adapting, Captain Lieutenant Rami said, pointing at the tactical display. "The Council is setting a trap. They've gathered a massive fleet near the neutral zone. They claim it's for negotiation, but I think they plan to capture or destroy us." Sarah leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Then we'll turn it into an opportunity. Humans don't run from traps. We make the rules inside them." The human crew prepared quietly, methodically. They checked systems, ran simulations, and rehearsed maneuvers. Every human knew their role, not as soldiers, but as creators of solutions. They were not bound by protocol. They were bound only by ingenuity. As the Dauntless approached the neutral zone, alien ships bristled in formation. Thousands of vessels blocked the path, a wall of firepower meant to intimidate. A fleet commander, a tall, four-winged alien named Varkas, broadcast a message across space. "Human vessel, you are entering a restricted zone. Surrender immediately. Failure to comply will result in destruction," Sarah smiled. Varkas, tell him we don't negotiate with threats. Tell him we make the rules now. The humans did not charge blindly. They did not fire a single shot. Instead, they activated their first tactic, perception manipulation. Using advanced projection devices, the Dauntless appeared in multiple locations at once. Alien sensors flickered, readings conflicted, and panic spread through the fleet. What is happening? Varkas roared. We have them surrounded! No, you don't, Sarah said calmly. You never surrounded us. You just thought you did. The first wave of human ingenuity stunned the aliens. While the fleet argued among themselves, the humans moved undetected through gaps in the formation. They exploited weaknesses in alien AI, redirecting patrol drones and creating false sensor readings. Wait, they're inside our lines, Varkas shouted, his voice trembling. Impossible. Sarah's eyes scanned the holographic map. They expect us to fight by their rules. That's their mistake. Our rules are simple. Stay alive, stay clever, and make them follow us. Not the other way around. Meanwhile, aboard the Dauntless, the engineer Terra activated the next device, a pulse that temporarily disabled communication in the enemy fleet. Orders were delayed and confusion spread. Alien captains fired at phantom targets or froze in indecision. Perfect, Sarah said. Now we negotiate. On our terms. Humans did not need to destroy the fleet. They only needed to demonstrate control. By redirecting a nearby asteroid field, they created a moving barrier that blocked the largest ships. By hacking energy grids, they forced cruisers to shut down defensive systems temporarily. Every move was precise, deliberate, and without unnecessary violence. The Council watched in horror as their perfectly organized fleet stumbled. They are not attacking, one leader said. They are improvising. They are rewriting the engagement itself. And they were. Captain Sarah called a meeting with her crew in the observation deck. Stars streaked past the windows, a silent audience to human audacity. We have them where we want, Sarah said. No destruction. No killing. Just proof. Humans are not predictable. Humans are not obeying your rules. Humans are creating the future. Lieutenant Jin frowned. But what if they try real force? Sarah shook her head. Then we adapt. We always adapt. That's what makes us human. That's why they fear us. They are afraid of unpredictability. As predicted, the fleet hesitated. Smaller alien factions, dissatisfied with the Alliance's control, began sending secret messages to the humans. They offered alliances, resources, and safe corridors in exchange for cooperation. Humans accepted selectively, forming bonds without violating their principles. The final stage of Sarah's plan was both simple and brilliant. Using communication relays, humans broadcasted a message across the galaxy, not just to the fleet but to every listening civilization. Humans do not follow rules. Humans make rules. If you wish to survive alongside us, you will adapt. Resistance is optional, but expect consequences. It was bold, clear, and unmistakable. The fleet commander, Varkas, screamed into his communicator. Stop them. Stop them now. But the humans had already left the neutral zone, appearing suddenly in positions no one had predicted. Their ship, agile and clever, seemed everywhere at once. Alien weapons fired at empty space, missiles detonated harmlessly against projected images. It was a display of pure strategy and creativity, not brute force. In the council chamber, leaders were silent. No one could deny it. Humans had survived, outsmarted, and outmaneuvered hundreds of ships without a single casualty. They are exceptional, one counselor whispered. They don't play by our logic, they invent new logic. Sarah sat in her chair, smiling faintly. She knew the humans had done what no other species could do, demonstrate true mastery over unpredictability. Humans were not the strongest in weapons, the largest in fleet, or the oldest in history, but they were unmatched in innovation, courage, and adaptability. In the days that followed, humans made contact with more alien worlds. Each encounter reinforced the same truth. Humans did not obey the galaxy's rules. They created new ones. Trade routes were rerouted, old treaties rewritten, and even hostile species began to hesitate before attacking a human ship. Sarah's crew laughed together one night, gathered in the mess hall. Do you think they'll ever understand us? Rami asked. Some will try, Sarah said. Most won't, and that's fine. Humans don't need approval. Humans don't need permission. Humans make the rules, and the galaxy is learning that the hard way. The first fleets to recover from confusion attempted another engagement. But humans had already taught the galaxy a lesson. Predictability was weakness, innovation was power, and fear of unpredictability was respect. No one dared underestimate humans again, and the Dauntless, it sailed through the stars like it owned them. Humans were explorers, diplomats, and strategists all in one. They did not need massive fleets or destructive weapons to command attention. One ship with clever minds and unyielding courage had reshaped the galaxy's perception of power. Sarah stood on the observation deck, looking at the endless stars. "The galaxy thinks it knows how things work," she said. "It thinks it can control us. It thinks we will follow rules. But humans, we make the rules, and the galaxy will bend to them." Her crew nodded silently. They understood. Every human understood. They were not soldiers, not conquerors, not tyrants. They were humans, and that was enough. Across the galaxy, messages went out. Planets whispered about the human ship that did not obey. Fleets murmured about a species that could not be predicted, and councils debated how to respond. Some planned to fight humans, some planned to ally, but all agreed on one truth. The era of predictable order was over. In quiet corners of space, scientists calculated probabilities, generals studied human tactics, and diplomats rewrote strategies. But nothing could prepare them fully. Humans were beyond preparation. Humans did not follow rules, they created them. The Dauntless disappeared into the blackness of space, leaving a galaxy stunned, humbled, and alert. Every star system knew the message now. Every fleet and council would remember, humans don't follow rules. Humans make them.